Imagine you're in a quiet room on your own. There's nothing much in that room. There's a desk in front of you. And on the desk is £50 or $50. It's quite a lot of money. It's something you could maybe use for something. Maybe it's something that you could really treat yourself with. £50. What can I do with that? This. I've been thinking about buying this. £50 will really go well towards that. Now imagine someone walks into the room and they say, that's £50. You could take it if you want. It's completely for you. But if you can wait 30 minutes, I'll double it. You'll get £100. But if you can't hold yourself back, you can just grab that £50 now and you'll miss out on the extra £50. An experiment very similar to this was done for real on children, except it wasn't with £50, it was with a marshmallow. They called it the marshmallow test. The amazing thing about this experiment, why it becomes so interesting in terms of your goals in life and achievement and accomplishment, is that the kids that could hold themselves, right, they would get one marshmallow now if they just eat it now, or if they could wait 15 minutes, they would get another marshmallow. And these are young kids. Those that could hold themselves for 15 minutes and delay gratification, they were tracked, and later in life, they found that those kids did much, much better in their career, in their relationships, in their life in general. And this is the exact same challenge that we face every day with procrastination. Do what I want now. Do what I like now. Do what I feel is easy right now. Or do I do something a little bit harder now, a little bit less obvious what to do, a little bit more challenging now, but later get that benefit, get that extra £50. Because that's what procrastination is. It's doing the easy thing now and putting off the hard thing, instead of doing the harder but useful thing now and putting off the easy thing till later. That's really what it is at the heart of it. And we all know exactly what this feels like. You're sitting down to do some work on your side hustle or something. Next thing you know it, you find yourself on Instagram scrolling through reels, wondering what happened. Or you might hear a powerful reminder about memorizing the Quran and how the one who memorizes Quran, they will be raised according to how much they memorize on Yawm al-Qiyamah. And so you want to memorize the Quran, but you just hesitate to sign up for that course or sign up with a teacher, and then the motivation wears off and you don't end up doing it. Now, people will tell you, you just need to shake that off and you just need to do it. You just need to get started. But it's not that simple. It's not actually about willpower. It's about what's happening in your brain. You see, the marshmallow test wasn't just about self-control. It showed something much deeper about the struggle between our short-term desires and our long-term goals. Procrastination is just the adult version of picking up and eating that one marshmallow right now instead of waiting for number 2 to come in 15 minutes. And the very deep thing is that Allah even talks about this hastiness, this procrastination. He talks about in Surah Al-Isra, "Man kana yuridu al-ajila," whoever wants the immediate, whoever desires the immediate. And he goes on to say, whoever should desire the immediate, we hasten for him from it what we will to whom we intend. Then we have made for him hell, which he will enter, burn, censored and banished. You see, what you realize when you think deeply about procrastination is this whole life is just one big marshmallow test, where if you can hold back on some of your simple desires, you get Jannah. Instead of 2 marshmallows, forget 2 marshmallows, you get Jannah for that patience. And if you can't hold back even from a small marshmallow, then you go to the hellfire. So quitting procrastination is not just about productivity, it's about passing the test of life. And beyond passing, it's about excelling in your finances, your wealth, your relationships, your marriage, your ibadah, your contribution to the ummah. The best people in history, they were faced with this exact same test. Do the easy thing now and fail the test, or do the harder thing now and succeed in your mission. The mushrikeen of Quraysh, they offered the Prophet ﷺ status, they offered him leadership positions, they offered him women. But he chose to continue his mission of spreading the truth and the message of Islam, and he got boycotted for it. He nearly starved from it. He got attacked for it. They offered Omar al-Mukhtar, the famous mujahid who fought against the Italian occupation of Libya. They offered him a way out. They offered him status. They offered him safety. But he refused, and he was killed for it. But think on a deep level with me. If he gave up fighting and he accepted the safety and whatever they were offering him, he would actually just be procrastinating on his end goal in life. Your goal in life is to please Allah and get to Jannah. The quickest route for that was for him to actually get executed and go to Jannah as a shaheed. So if he took them up on their offer, he would just be procrastinating. Isn't that crazy? That procrastinating on starting your side business and procrastinating on fighting the Italians, they actually come down to the same thing. Ibn Taymiyyah as well, the world famous scholar, everyone's heard of Ibn Taymiyyah from the 14th century. He was alive at a very crazy time in Islamic history. He was imprisoned and he was tortured for refusing to bow down to unjust rulers and the policies that they wanted to implement that he would not sign off on. He just would not agree to. He stood firm. When they offered him, they said, look, if you just agree to this and you just say, no, this is halal, this is fine, then you'll be fine and we'll let you off. We'll even give you positions of power and importance, etc. But what did he say? He said, what can my enemies do to me? Paradise is in my heart. If they imprison me, then I have seclusion with Allah. If they kill me, I have shahada. What can they do to me? And those who haven't yet, or maybe we never will, achieve such big things as them, we face this same struggle every single day. And if we pass this struggle, not every single time, but if we pass it more times than not, then maybe we can go on to achieve huge things like that. If you want to succeed in business, if you want to do hijrah, if you want to gain more Islamic knowledge, become more knowledgeable, you will face procrastination. It's one of Shaitan's favorite weapons, to get you to delay doing tawbah and asking Allah for forgiveness for something you've done, to delay doing good deeds because it's not perfect enough yet. He makes you feel overwhelmed when he's trying to do something good, something big. He makes you feel like it's a really big deal, that thing. And he makes you feel like you have to work on it on your own, when in reality, Allah will help you towards that thing and make things easy for you. Allah doesn't say to procrastinate on good things. Allah says, race. Allah says, race towards forgiveness from your Lord and paradise that is as wide as the heavens and the earth, prepared for the righteous. Allah says, race towards it, not procrastinate and overthink on it. So me and you, we don't have a choice. We have to fight this. Whether it's just to enter Jannah or to accomplish big things in life, in business, in ibadah, in whatever it is, we must fight it. This is a battle that we were born in, and we'll keep going, inshallah. You see, here's the thing. Procrastination was taught to us as like a personality trait or just some kind of laziness, but that's a lie. They say you're procrastinating because you're not motivated, but most things we do, we have good reasons for doing them. We don't lack motivation. They say you're not disciplined enough or you're just being indecisive. But I've got to tell you, it's much simpler than that. It's less of a heart emotional problem and it's more of a basic brain or psychology problem. And we're going to solve it right now. Because once you learn to push back on your procrastination and work with your psychology instead of against it, you'll become that man, that guy that does whatever he says he's going to do and does it on time as well. And those goals that you always wanted to do and you always say you're working on this, you're working on that, but you don't make much progress on, they'll become a regular part of your life that you're constantly moving towards step by step. Beating procrastination is a superpower in 2025, where the biggest problem that we all face is not taking action. So Bismillah, I want to challenge you to understand that procrastination only happens because you lack 4 things. The first is clarity. You don't know what exactly specifically you're supposed to be doing. If you don't know exactly what you're supposed to do, your mind, your brain will try to save energy by avoiding doing it until it's very clear what you need to do. It doesn't want to spend energy on working out what to do. It wants to just do the thing. Now, this has a very simple fix. You just have to plan everything out into very specific chunks so that no task that you have on your to-do list or whatever is vague. It has to be specific. What I do and what we teach at the front row is to break things down like this. So we'll have 2 to 4 goals for the year. We'll write those out and decide them ahead of time. And then one of those goals will become a 90-day goal, a 90-day focus. That 90-day focus gets broken down into weekly tasks. So if I'm going to achieve that goal in 90 days, then I need to break this down into week by week tasks. Those tasks are going to be very specific and very clear. There should be no vagueness in them. And that's how we get over this first barrier and reason for procrastination, which is, I don't know exactly what I need to do. No, we will write it down very clearly. So instead of saying, do report, we're going to say which report specifically, what the parts are of the report. And even on a day-by-day basis, you could say, okay, on Monday, I'm going to work on that section, Tuesday, that section, Wednesday, that section. So there's no vagueness at all. It's all very clear and specific. And there you have it. For 90 days, you know exactly what you're going to do on a week-by-week basis, and there's nothing that you need to wonder about, what am I doing? If you have clarity, if you know exactly what to do, then you won't procrastinate on it because you don't know what you need to do. And on top of that, the intimidation of the task goes away completely because we often see tasks as bigger when they're vague, and when we make them specific, they seem smaller and less intimidating. As an example, think of planning a trip for 10 people. Oh, wow, that feels like a big deal. But what if I just list out, look for minibuses, call different minibus people, pick a minibus, book the minibus. And if it was just little tasks like that, it would seem much more doable. So when you break things down, everything gets a lot easier and you don't procrastinate. Now, the next one is the one that's my weakness, to be honest. If I don't have urgency, I'll be slow, I'll procrastinate, I'll delay doing it, I'll go and do something else instead. Urgency is a big factor in procrastination, not having it. And one of the best things I did to beat this in my business was having weekly meetings with 7-day deadlines for everything. So we would sit in the meeting every single Monday with my business partners, with any staff that we had at the time, and we would go through the actions that we committed to doing last week. And we would have to simply say only one of two things. We were not allowed to give excuses or explain or anything. It was just that action that is allocated to you. Is it done or is it not done? And these actions always had 7-day deadlines. So you had 1 week to work on it and get it done by then. And so now imagine in front of your business partners who are relying on you, in front of your staff who are looking up to you, you have to say done or not done. And having to say that in front of everyone, it makes it heavier and it makes you not want to say not done, right? So it forces you to get it done, as well as giving you that short deadline of just 7 days between every action, between you getting that action given to you, allocated to you, and then you getting it done. So we have deadlines every single week. We also have deadlines every 90 days, like I discussed previously. We would have bigger goals that we aim to finish in 90 days, and that's our deadline. And then for the 7-day ones, we'd have 7-day deadlines for that. But there's also a micro deadline technique, which is even smaller than the 7-day window, and that is the Pomodoro technique. What this technique is all about is just you working for 25 minutes on something. You know exactly what it is, and you give yourself 25 minutes, you put a timer on for those 25 minutes, you work on it, and this removes procrastination because you just have to work for 25 minutes. There's a countdown timer going down, and you just kind of got that urgency, you've got that specificity of what you're working on these 25 minutes, and you're getting on with it. You work 25 minutes, then you take a 5-minute break, then work another 25 minutes, and then a 5-minute break. So even though you're taking 2 small breaks, you're still working 50 minutes out of the hour. And because you got that clear deadline, you're very focused and you just get on with it. And this helps even more if you get distracted a lot. The fact that you've only got 25 minutes to make real progress, it really pushes you to focus and get stuff done. So deadlines is my weak point when it comes to procrastinating, and that's exactly how I destroy it. I've got 7-day deadlines for everything. I've got 90-day deadlines, and I've got these 25-minute Pomodoro sessions, which is that micro deadline. The next one is a big barrier. It makes people procrastinate a lot, and it's a weird one as well. I would call it permission. Let me explain what I mean. You procrastinate so much because you feel that you don't have the permission to do something in an imperfect way. And the great thing is that you just need to give yourself permission. Just give yourself permission to do. Just scribble. Just write a draft. Just record a bad video with a lot of stuttering. BJ Fogg, he's one of the top psychologists when it comes to behavior change. And he has a very simple model for understanding how to change your behavior. And it's basically a graph which shows 2 main factors in whether you're going to take action or not. Number 1 is motivation, how much motivation you have. Number 2 is how easy or difficult the task is to you. And out of those 2 things, the one he tells you to focus on first to take more action is the ease or difficulty. You can easily get more done if you just make the task easier, if you just break it into a small chunk, or in this case, if you just make a bad version of that video, of that sales page. So give yourself permission to make a bad version of whatever it is you're working on. You know, Hamza was someone that I was coaching, I was working with, and he wanted to get a promotion in his job or move to a better position, a higher paying position in his industry. And he'd been procrastinating on the first step of this, which was to update his CV. He'd been procrastinating on it. Now, what did I tell him to do? Number 1, I said, while we're on the call today, I want you to list the specific things that you need to change in your CV. Don't update your CV, but on this call, I want you to list those things. What was I doing? I was making it specific for him, going back to the first point. The second thing I said was, after this call, by the end of today, I gave him a deadline. I said, by the end of today, I want you to make a bad version of your CV. Update your CV, but do a bad version. And it must be a bad version, okay? He said, okay. And that actually allowed him to make a lot of progress that he'd spent months procrastinating on. This is the exact same advice that people like Ali Abdaal, who help people to start YouTube channels, say when they're helping people to start YouTube channels. They say, make bad videos. please just make a bad video. Because especially when they're going to be on camera, the whole world can see them, even though they only get like 5 views in their first video. But people are very conscious of seeming perfect on camera. And that's why he challenges people, do a bad video, make a bad version. You can always not publish it, or you could always edit things out. So just make a bad video. So in order to destroy, strangle procrastination, you need to get specific on everything you need to do so there's no vagueness. You also need deadlines, macro and micro deadlines. And thirdly, you need to give yourself permission to not do a perfect job every single time and do a bad version sometimes. And now the fourth one is a bit of a weird one, probably one that you've never heard about, but this for me is the biggest reason that you're going to not procrastinate. Yeah, let me ask you a question. You probably know your goals in life, your goals for this year, at least roughly, maybe not too specifically, but you know your goals. But let me ask you a question. Who else knows those goals? Who else knows what you're working on? Who else is going to ask you in a week or in a month or in 3 months' time, yo, you know that thing you're working on? Like, what happened to it? What have you done with that? Who asks you about your projects? Who makes you feel urgency and pressure to succeed in these projects? If nobody even knows, then nobody is making you feel that pressure and giving you that accountability. It's very rare, but it's actually a secret way that the top performers getting so much done is that they have accountability. When I got my first success in business, when I finally got married, when I moved to UAE and then I moved to Turkey, all of that was when I had accountability. I had my business partners who were holding me accountable every single week on those weekly meetings like I was talking about. They were also older than me, more experienced than me, and I felt even more pressure to live up to their expectations. We also have 90-day goals like I described that my partners were holding me accountable for as well. And then along the way, they would coach me and mentor me on what I was doing right, what mistakes I might be making, what mistakes I might make in the future and to avoid from now, don't even get started on those mistakes, and give me good feedback on what I was doing. And this was the biggest game changer for me because this produced my first success in business that allowed me now for the 7th year to live full-time from my full-time business. You see, before that, I was dabbling. I had an ebook on actually productivity, funnily enough, that I was trying to sell. I also did Amazon FBA and I dabbled in e-commerce as well, but I didn't get that full-time income from that. It wasn't really working out for me. One of the reasons was I wasn't taking enough aggressive action, and accountability and coaching and mentoring is what got me to take that. So you need accountability. This is the thing that's going to get you out of procrastination, because when you're sitting there scrolling through your phone, you're going to wake up at some point and say, damn, Muhammad or Abdullah is going to ask me about whether I did that or not. I have a deadline, but not only do I have a deadline, I have somebody that on that deadline is going to come and ask me about what I've done. And because I look up to them, because they're a pro at what they do, I'm going to feel pressure, social pressure, even shame to go to that person and say and look at them in the eye and say, I didn't do it, bro. So accountability and coaching is that game changer. And that's why we offer it at the front row, because it's one of the biggest game changers that I can think of to help you get over your procrastination and take more action towards your goals. So procrastination might be killing you right now. It's separating you from where you are now and your future goals and dreams in life. But it's really not a personality trait. It's really not about laziness. It's not something that's a big deal. It's just getting clarity, having deadlines, giving yourself permission to not be perfect, and having accountability and coaching. And if you want our expert help on taking more action and actually succeeding in your goals and living a fulfilled life where you're making progress, whether it's in your finances, in business, marriage, whatever it is in life, we'll be there pushing you along, helping you and supporting you towards your big goals. So if you're interested in exactly how it works, there's a link below that's like a free training actually on the whole process. And then if you want to work with us, you can click the link from there. So check out that link in the description below, sign up and check out that training video, and then you can move on from there. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.